Welcome, cooks, to my series where I give a cooking tip almost every Saturday morning. My goal is to motivate you to have a weekend filled with cooking, tasting, and delicious fun. My tip this week is, what is a Springform pan? So join me for my weekly cooking tip. So what is a Springform pan? Springform pans are used when you want to be able to remove something from the pan easy. So say you're baking a cake and you can either cut the cake right in the pan or you can remove it, which is really helpful because if you want to decorate it or you want to preserve the shape of the cake, you really want to be able to get it out of the pan. And one thing a Springform pan does is it makes it easier for you to do that. Now, Springform pans are used for a lot of different things, particularly things that are a little difficult to get out of a regular cake pan. Because if you take a cake pan and you grease it up and you do your cake, to get the cake out of there, you have to flip it to get the cake to come out of there, and then you flip the cake. But the problem is there's a lot of things that you might want to bake that you can't flip and remove upside down and then flip back over again. Something like a cheesecake. You wouldn't want to do that with a cheesecake because if you flip the cake over, it's going to ruin the top of the cheesecake. So you want something that you can basically collapse off of the side of the cheesecake to maintain the integrity in the shape of the cheesecake. Now you can also use them for cakes, you can use them for quiches, you can use them for frittatas, you can use them for all kinds of things.
Tarts with beef stew in them?
Tarts. Eric did a beef stew in one of these and he created the crust, so when he removed the Springform pan, he just had a cute little pie there. I'll put a link down in the description for that. If you watched some of my videos recently, we did a raspberry brownie bar. And one of the things I did, because I didn't want to flip it over, is I created a sling. And if you don't have a Springform pan, you can do other things to try to get a similar result. I created a sling. So what I did is I took some parchment paper, two pieces that were as wide as the pan, and I put one way and one the other way, so that when I was able to take it out of the oven, I could just lift it out. You can also line it with foil. But a Springform pan eliminates all of that. I could have made the bars in this Springform pan right here. This is like a 9x9 square Springform pan. And how these works is they basically have a buckle. And the buckle holds the sides on it. So when you remove the buckle, the sides lift off and you have, we just washed this one, and you have your cake right on here. So to use that, all you do is you put this back on here, you squeeze the buckle down, and now you can fill this with your cake batter. So one of the things about Springform pans is they're notorious for leaking. Flat out, they're notorious for leaking. You need to get one that has a good reputation that people have had a lot of success with, because they tend to have an issue if you put a liquid batter in here, and because these aren't sealed necessarily, they have a problem and they leak. Sometimes you might want to use a water bath around one of them. So you're creating some kind of custard cake, you're doing a cheesecake, and you want to put this in a water bath where you put this inside a pan of water and fill the water up like that to give yourself a little bit gentler of a cook. One problem with these Springform pans is not only sometimes they leak the batter, but they leak that water in there. So if you're going to use one of these in a water bath, you really want to line it on the outside with some foil first, and then put your water in to make sure that water doesn't get inside the pan. So before us, we have a few different kinds of springform pans. This, like we saw, is just a basic square springform pan. This is a Kaiser. I'll put a link down in the description. I really like this one. What goes sort of along with this one is I also have this. It's like a 13 by 9 springform pan. This also is by Kaiser as well. It's a lot larger, and you can make a traditional family style cake in here, sort of like a sheet cake size in this rectangle. I also have this. This is kind of like a loaf pan size. See how narrow it is? You can do a bread in here. You can do a bar cake. You can do like a quick bread in here, and you get the same results, right? You just crack that open and you take this off, and there's your bar cake. You don't have to worry about flipping it to get it out of the pan. So Eric used these to make beef pot pie, and we basically lined this with crust, and then we filled it with a filling, and we made a little pie out of that. So you can buy these in many shapes. So yesterday I happened to find a gift card that I had left over as a reward from one of my credit cards, and I had to spend it, right? Because it was like getting over a year old, and we noticed on the back of it that it said, if you don't spend it in 13 months, they'll start taking off a monthly fee off of it. So I had to spend it. And I know I want to experiment with some cheesecakes. Eric loves cheesecakes, and I have a strawberry cheesecake in my mind to make. So I want to get a classic round springform pan. But I also want something that maybe I can avoid the issue of it leaking. So I went out to the Williams-Sonoma outlet store, right? Yay! And I went shopping, and I bought a Williams-Sonoma Gold Touch springform pan. And what's unique about this springform pan, so this is $49 in the store, right? $49 for a springform pan? That's shocking.
But they mislabeled it.
But I think they mislabeled it because it's priced $44.95 and it came up as $44.95. They were having 40% off cookware and bakeware, so I paid $26.97 for this. And this is a Gold Touch. It's made by USA Pan. This is a Williams-Sonoma exclusive. They also make one of these in a traditional buckle style springform pan, but I thought this was interesting because this is designed to be leak proof. So we will see if that actually is leak proof. And the difference between this and the buckle style springform pan is this has a lot of silicone in it to help prevent the leaking, and it has a different kind of mechanism for putting the sides on. So as you can see, the sides have these things on here. So you pull these up to release the sides like this. And each side has silicone where the metal meets. And it also has this silicone ring that goes around the bottom to keep any liquid in or out. So you slide this onto the base. You put one side on here. The other side matches up here.
Is there a problem with your rubber thing on the bottom? Is it not happy?
Oh, it's got to be up higher. Okay, so you take this and you place one here and put it down just slightly. Then we're going to go to the other side. I'm going to put this one on here, and then we're going to push them both down, and we have our seal. So we have our seal in here, as well as we have a silicone seal across here to prevent this from leaking. So we have sort of a double seal system to keep water from getting in or a batter from getting out. So this is a Williams-Sonoma leak-proof springform pan. It is more expensive if you go to the regular store. It's $50, right? But their regular buckle style one was still like $40-some.
It was actually more. It was $29.95.
Yeah, it was more. So it's going to be interesting to see, to put this to the test and see how it works. So my Saturday morning tip of the week is, if you want to bake something and you are concerned about how you're going to remove it from the pan, either you don't know if it will stick, or you don't want to have to flip it to remove the pan, look at getting a Springform pan. These are great. They work wonderful if you get one that doesn't leak. That's sort of the issue. So I would invest in a pretty good quality one that gets good reviews. These are the ones I enjoy using, so I'll put links down in the description to these, to the Amazon page. So cooks, this is our weekly Saturday tip of the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and join our community by hitting the subscribe button below. We have a lot of fun with cookware and cooking and gadgets and kitchen appliances and all that fun stuff. And join me on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Amy Learns to Cook. We have a blast, and we learn a lot in that group from everybody's collective knowledge. Also, you can catch me on social media at Pinterest and Twitter at Amy Learns to Cook, and you can visit me on Instagram at Cookin' with Amy. Have a great weekend. Welcome, cooks, to my series where I give a cooking tip almost every Saturday morning. This week,
Miss Amy,
yeah,
when you're making my cheesecake, what's going to keep you from ripping my cheesecake apart once it's all baked?
keeping it away from you. Boo.